Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to begin with a wordless melody, and then I'll do a more formal welcome. As people come on in to the sound of our music.
Yep.
As we join together in Nigun, a wordless melody.
Try it with us.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So I know we've got a pretty full house this evening. Tonight, we're going to not only be celebrating Shabbat, but also celebrating Maribel Leon for her many, many years of service here at the congregation and giving her a special blessing. And then afterwards, we'll get a chance to head out into the lobby. And during our oneg, we've got a microphone set up and, giving everybody a chance who wants to make a toast to her and to talk about the impact that she's played on their lives.
But don't tell her we're doing that.
Yes. I think she just thinks she's here for Shabbat, right? So, in addition, I want to welcome all of those family and friends of the Garcia Pedroza family who are here. I want to give a special shout out to Shelley Nicely Groff, who's the incoming chair of the URJ, and we welcome you and thank you for all your service to our movement. Yes. And so hopefully everyone's grabbed a prayer book on their way in. If you haven't, you can find it there. Janet Dooney is our usher. She's handing out the prayer books. We've got large print prayer books on the left as you walk in, hearing assisted devices on the right in the office. If you need a bathroom, it's outside to the right, though all gender and handicap accessible bathrooms are through the office toward the back. If for some reason tonight you need an emergency exit, of course there's the exit you came in on, but notice there's an exit here as well as exits toward the back as well. And finally, with so many guests here tonight, it's our job, if you do know this service well, to lean over to them if they feel lost, if they're not sure where they are on the page or in the prayer book, to tell them. That way we can all follow along and be part of services. And know that sometimes humming along or clapping along or a simple yababa or a bim bim bam is enough. So we're going to get a chance to test that out now. We're on page 24 as we join together with the words of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi HaKadosh Baruch Hu לשלום, ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך צאתכם לשלום, צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
So we're going to formally usher in Shabbat on page 2 and 3 as we prepare to light our candles and bless our wine. And tomorrow, Jesse Garcia Pedroza is going to be called up to the bima for the very first time as a bar mitzvah. And so I'm going to invite him, as well as his nuclear family, up to lead us in those blessings now.
That means the siblings, the nuclear family. They weren't sure.
Sorry. Okay. Ready? As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של Shabbat.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary indeed, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzivanu v'shabbat kodso v'hava uvratzon hinhi lanu zikro lema'aseh v'reisi hinhu yom tehila lemikraye kodesh zer litziat mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kiddashta mikol ha'amim v'shavat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinhaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Yishar koach. That was very well done. Early mazel tov.
You guys can take a seat. We're going to move forward in our prayer books. Actually, not our prayer books yet. We're going to look at the screen. As we've been doing each week recently, rather than move right into L'chadodi, we are going to do one of the representative psalms traditionally done before the L'chadodi prayer. Traditionally, Shabbat's accompanied by 7 different psalms, each symbolizing a day of the week. And those that are not Shabbat happen before, meant to kind of remind you of where you were at any given point during this past week. And so we're going to do a section from Psalm 97, if you look on the screen. A very repetitive, easy song to pick up. And I want to invite you to really kind of challenge yourself to think about this past week as you do it.
שם אהבה תשמח, שם אהבה תשמח, ציון, ציון. שם אהבה תשמח, שם אהבה תשמח, ציון, ציון. ותגלנה, ותגלנה, בנות יהודה, ותגלנה, ותגלנה, בנות יהודה. שם, here we go. שם אהבה תשמח, שם אהבה תשמח, ציון, ציון. שם אהבה תשמח, שם אהבה תשמח, ציון, ציון. ותגלנה, בנות יהודה, ותגלנה, בנות יהודה. One more time at yalalai, yalalai, yalalai,
There's a lot of us. Let's hear it.
yalalai, 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 yalalai,
We're on page 20 as we join together in L'Chadoti.
לקראת כלה, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, בני שבת נקרא, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, שמו תפארת ולי תהילה, ולי תהילה. לקראת כלה, בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם מסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה
together facing the door.
בואי ושלום, את תרד בלילה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה.
Standing, turning to page 28.
Together. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם 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 ועד.
Seated together. Praise are you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch ata Adonai, Hama'ariv, Aravim.
Amen.
Page 32.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך. ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם יומם הלילה, יומם בלילה. ואהבתך לתסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד.
et Adonai. Page 36. B'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom alevavecha Vishinantam levanecha vidibartam bishiftecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshachbecha uvekumecha ukshartam leot ayadecha vehayu letotafot beinenecha uktavtam amezuzot beitecha Uvisharecha leman tiskeru va'asitem ekom etzotai v'item kidoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzetechem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohim emet.
We're on page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Page 40.
Mi chamocha, Bailim Adonai, Mi kamocha, Nedar bakodesh, Nora, Tehilo, Ose, Fele, Malechutecha, Rauvanecha, Bokei Hayam, Lifnei Moshe uMiriam, Zeili, Anu ve'ameru, Adonai lo, Leolam ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 43. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 44.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. One more time, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We rise together.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatem. We continue in silence.
I invite you to keep letting your prayers flow as we channel all our energy into a prayer for wholeness, shlemut, for peace.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל וימרו שלומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
So as we do each week, we add into our prayers a special prayer for the state of Israel. And the one that we do is one penned by rabbinic student Hannah Ellenson, which speaks about many of the most important themes that we feel in the messiness of watching what's happening in Gaza. We're all holding these conflicting feelings in our hearts. And so we ask, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, we ask that you bless the state of Israel and all of Israel's inhabitants. Makor Chaim, source of life, bless and strengthen those who defend the land and ensure their safe and speedy return home. Protect them and guide them. Kadosh Baruch Hu, holy and blessed one, show Israel's leaders your paths so they may act with wisdom, courage, and dedication, and that they may be unwavering in their pursuit of peace. Strengthen their hearts, but keep their hearts from hardening. Adonai Poked, God who remembers. There are more than 100 people currently being held in Gaza who are thought to be alive, including Oded Lifshotz, age 83, Guy Gilboa Dalal, 22, Eviatar David, 23, Nama Levi, 19, Bipin Joshi, 23, Eden Alexander, 19, Nathapog Pinta, 35, Shuri Bibas, 32, Yarden Bibas, 34, and their sons Ariel, 4, and Kafir, who just turned 1. Matira Surim, freer of captives, return all those who are kidnapped safe and sound to their homes, without the spilling of more innocent blood, without any more souls being tarnished by horrific acts. Baal Harachamim, master of compassion, help us hold the humanity and the heartache of the Jewish people, of all the residents of the state of Israel, while also holding the humanity and the dignity of the Palestinian people. We are made in your image. Remind us of your ways. Spread over us a shelter of peace and fulfill the vision of your prophets. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, nor shall they know war anymore.
There are so many of us, whether we're in this room, this sacred space together, or we're elsewhere, perhaps online, but so many people are offering this opportunity for us to say the Mishaberak for those in need of healing. And there are a lot of people in this room that are in need of healing, of body, mind, and spirit. And it goes from here out to our families and our friends. And so I'll ask you in a moment to name some of those names if you are willing to do that out loud. And then we'll see a very large list of people on our screen. I'll ask you to turn to page 253. Mishaberak avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yivarech et hacholim. The one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha liavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
So as I mentioned at the beginning of our service, tonight is a special night because we're honoring Maribel Leon for her many, many years, her over 2 decades of service to this congregation. Now, I know many of us here could easily be up here speaking about her. And by the way, you'll all get a chance. So after we get a chance to hear from one representative from our congregation who is kind of a stand-in for all of us, and then you hear from Rabbi Sharon Litwin and myself, we're going to get a chance after services to go outside, and for anyone who wants to make toasts, anyone who wants to speak, anyone who wants to talk about the impact of Maribel on their lives, we'll set up a microphone, and that is going to be the activity for our Oneg Shabbat. But before I say anything else, I want to call up Lisa Wasser-Berlin, who is going to, on behalf of all of us, speak from what it means to be a lay leader working with Maribel.
Do I get to sit down? Probably stand would be better. Can we put this? Well, thank you. On a Sunday in the fall of 2001, I walked into the temple office to speak with our religious school director, Iris Schwartz. Iris wasn't in her office. All the phones were ringing. Students and other parents were milling about with questions. I sat down and started answering the phones. I was in my last term as religious school vice principal and was familiar with our program and could help with most requests. Our religious school was rapidly expanding. It was becoming abundantly clear that in order for Iris to be able to focus on curriculum, we desperately needed someone who could handle the organizational side of religious school and the phones. Thankfully, the board agreed to fund a new position of religious school administrator, and Maribel Leon was hired in September 2002. Maribel was the answer. I can't see her. Hi, Maribel. Maribel was the answer to all of our prayers, especially mine, because I could stop coming in on Sunday morning to answer the phones. Maribel calmly took on the organizational helm of religious school. She developed and expanded the administrative systems. Maribel created forms, systematized the registration procedures, and computerized all our information so we had records and a history to look back on when planning. She was the go-to expert on all things computer. When COVID sent us to our homes in March 2020, Maribel set up the technology and educated our teachers in 2 weeks, enabling religious school to continue. Maribel was the hub of all the communications that came from religious school. Parents and students would often turn to Maribel first with a question because she was the person they had interacted with from their very first inquiry into our program. Maribel's people skills were as terrific as her technical abilities. She knew all the students and their parents, and she remembered their names long after they left the program. She genuinely cared about their welfare, and students often just wanted to hang out with Maribel because she's a terrific listener. Maribel was exceptionally wonderful with the Madrukim, who loved her. Every year, many of these students would request to be the office volunteer because they wanted to work with Maribel. In one of my many roles of religious school, I was the Madrukim coordinator. One of the responsibilities entailed determining which student would work best with individual teachers. I would go to Maribel because she understood the students and their capabilities so well. She would unerringly know which student and teacher would work best together. She was never wrong, and we never had an issue. I believe an important character trait is perseverance. Maribel has it in spades. She doesn't give up because she cares so much about her TNT family. How fortunate we have been to have Maribel as a key person in our religious school for 22 years. She has made a significant and positive impact. No one will truly ever replace Maribel, who is loved by so many.
I just have a Post-it. I met Maribel about 20 months ago when I was hired to come to be the director of religious school here at Ner Tamid. And she came in on a day that wasn't her normal day to be here with her mom and her cousins, and everyone was here and everyone was kind of hanging out. And we sat in Rabbi Katz's office and just talked for a few minutes about, like, what is it that I do here? What is it that you do here? Who do you know? And Maribel was just, from the moment I met her, a source of an enormous amount of information and memory, and just the beating heart of what the religious school was as an institution. And it seemed to me that it didn't matter what question I ever had, she was the one who always knows the answer. Whether that's, like Lisa said, about forms, registration, attendance, who goes with who. If your last name is Schwartz or Cohen, there's definitely a few of you in the school, and I never remember which parent goes with which kid, and she always knew who went with whom and could just kind of direct me and kind of whisper in the back of my ear, you know, what it is I needed to do, and so I could make sure that every relationship I was building correctly with a foundation and a background. And it's been amazing how seamless my work has been because of the work that Maribel did over all of the past years, and made it so that these past 18 months of me being here have been so much more successful and so much more smooth and seamless. A couple of months ago, we had a conversation about what Maribel does, and she wrote a list of all the things that she did. And it was extremely comprehensive, and all of it was about systems. All of it was about putting things in place so that no matter who is here, no matter how many children walked into the building, and we have so many, if you're ever here on a Sunday morning, you could see just how many people are here. And she had a system for all of that, for a system for knowing where the teachers were, a system for knowing where the children belonged, a system for knowing how to find out what phone number we needed to call in case of an emergency. Everything was there, and it was a click of a button to find all of it. And I'll tell you, it's been 2 weeks since Maribel hasn't been working with us, and those systems are still seamless. It's been so easy because everything from payroll to emails to anything that I could possibly need, she sent me up a folder. It's called Maribel's Intel on my computer. And anytime I have a question, I have Maribel's Intel right there. And I will be using that for a very, very long time to come. So I am so grateful for that and for the support that you gave to me and to our school and to our teachers for all the many, many, many years. And for the short time that I've been here, it has been invaluable. And I can tell you that though I can't predict the future, I know that what you have made as an impact on this community will last for a really, really long time. So thank you.
So Maribel, I'm going to invite you up to the bima. And as I said, this part of the night is just the beginning. But I'm going to bring you up here, and I'm going to invite everybody to rise. Yeah, all the way up. So there, as you know, there is a kind of speech that we always give to all the B'nai Mitzvah parents. What we say to them is, you're going to start getting emails from people other than Maribel. Usually it's Lori Schifano, our administrator, and we say, look, if you get an email from Lori, open that email up because it's likely important. Because people are trained to understand that when they saw your name up there, from kindergarten up through 7th grade, they knew that the email they were going to get mattered. They knew that it was going to direct them what to do with their children, how religious school was going to work. It was going to be curricular or it was going to be logistic, but they knew that when they saw your name, when you spoke, it mattered because you embodied what it meant for so many people to step into this space, to educate their children, to grow up here. And so we're standing here right now underneath the Ner Tamid. And it happens to be the focus, actually, of this week's Torah portion. Jesse Garcia Pedroza is going to really kind of talk about it a lot in his Devar Torah. But when I got here, I learned, actually, from Rabbi Kushner that, and I guess this was one of the riffs that he often said, is that we often mistranslate the idea of the Ner Tamid. We call it the eternal light, but it's actually an adverb if you look at the Hebrew. It's not the light that's always lit. It's the light that perpetually gets lit. That you have to light it over and over and over again for the light to last. It's not something that just burns and burns and burns. And that's the way a synagogue is. The people in the synagogue have to be perpetually lit. Every time they walk in here, we have to prove to them over and over why it matters to be here, why their souls will be enlivened, why community is found here, why the education their kids are going to get is top-notch. And I've seen over the years, the 6 or so years that I've known you, just how much you perpetually light those around you. Whenever you answer the phone with that loving voice and that openness and that ready to help people, you perpetually light their light. Whenever someone comes in for a Band-Aid and they have to be calmed down in the moment, you perpetually light their light. When a parent's in a big rush and we're not exactly sure whether their kid is in music or back in class, and you make sure that they can wait that second and that you get that they're in a rush and at the same time coordinate making sure their kid comes up, you perpetually light their light. When you make sure that a form is perfect or an email is perfect, so no parent has to fret that we don't have things under control, you perpetually light their light. When you sit with our staff at staff meetings and you bring your sense of humor and your open heart, when you banter in the pit in the office and you really foster the friendships that you've had over these years with so many of us, you perpetually light our light. And this community is the way it is because of your light. Your light has shone on all of us. Now, I know the numbers are skewed because we have 70 people for a dinner for the Garcia Pedrozas. But raise your hand if you feel like at some point during your tenure here, Maribel lit your light for you. It's unbelievable. Your impact here is so felt. Judaism isn't made of the big grand gestures. It's made of the little everyday lights. And you brought that to every interaction, to every person. And we are indebted to you. And so now it's our time to bless you. So I want to call up Cantor Greenberg, Rabbi Sharon Litwin, Ronnie Pressman. You know what? Lori Schifano, too. I know she's not a member of the clergy, but you and Lori grew up here together, 20 years together. So she'll be part of blessing you, too. And let's all raise our hands to be part of this.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
May God bless you and may God protect you.
יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך.
May God cause God's face to shine upon you and give you grace.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
May God always smile upon you and grant you a life of wholeness and peace.
Can you hear it? So may it be God's will, and let us all say,
Amen. We love you.
So we can't wait to keep celebrating you after services at Onik. We can be seated. So I'm going to say just a few short words about our Torah portion because not a full sermon, but I know that I know I'd be remiss if I didn't preach just a little bit more. So this week's Torah portion is called Parshat Tetzaveh, and it means "and God commanded." And it's one of 4 different portions over the course of 5 weeks that speaks about the building of a building in the desert called the Tabernacle or the Mishkan. Last week, God gave us the overall specs of the building. This week, God tells us in that building where God will one day dwell about all the accoutrements, the table, the lights, the trumpets, all of those things that need to be there. Then we take a break for the golden calf. The next week, we build the thing, and the week after that, we take an inventory of what we've done. In fact, of all the sections in the Torah that are not narrative, this is the longest continuous kind of legal section of the whole thing. There's actually almost as much on the building of this one single building as there is for sacrifice in general in the book of Leviticus. And so it's important to pay attention then to the words that are used. Now, it's no accident, I think, that the very first Torah portion about this building is called Truma, which means free will offerings. It means bring stuff to build this temple that you want to bring. You want to bring $100 worth of material, you do that. You bring $1,000 worth of material, you do that. It's up to you how you want to participate. That is Truma. But no sooner do we have that than we have this week's Torah portion, which is not about discretion. It's about requirements. It's about being commanded. It's about being required. Titzaveh, and God commanded you to build first an eternal light and then to build the rest of the accoutrements in that structure. And I've been thinking a little bit about the tension between the free will and the required, between the thing you choose to do and the thing that you must do. And at its core, I actually think that we Reform Jews are very good at the Truma and pretty bad at the Tetzaveh. We're really good at choosing how we want to do things, and we're pretty bad at being told what to do. In fact, I actually think we modern people are told what to do, and we often thumb our noses at it. This is the era of choice. Think about every aspect of your life where you have choice and how much you get frustrated when that choice isn't there. Even a generation ago, television was successful primarily by what television it followed. If you had the slot after Seinfeld, you were set up for success. That's not something anymore that you can do when everything is streaming. Everything is a choice. When you can literally go and find any song that's ever been written at the tip of your fingers on Spotify, rather than buying an album and suffering through the couple bad songs in the list because you spent the money on those few good songs you wanted. We live in an era of radical choice. Never has choice been more at our fingertips, which actually means that never has duty been more important to us. Never has commands been more important to us. There's a misnomer, and I was teaching a class this morning, which is what made me think about it. The part of being a Reformed Jew, or even a liberal Jew in general, is just kind of doing what you want. Just choosing those things that are meaningful to you. You want to keep kosher? Keep kosher. You want to keep Shabbat? Keep Shabbat. You want to feed the hungry, clothe the naked? Do that. Or don't. But don't tell me how I'm going to be Jewish. I'm Reform. I want to challenge that notion tonight. That actually there is a place to be commanded. In part because the essence of Judaism is not getting off on what's easy, but rather doing what is required. Judaism has never really been that interested in rights. Rights is a product of the modern era. It's the John Locke's, it's the Rousseau's. It's the people who say, because I am human, I deserve things. And though there's a piece of that in Judaism, Judaism actually privileges something much more important. Not rights, but duties. Not what's owed to me, but the things that I am required to do for others. The things I am required to do for God. The self must be sublimated for the larger, for the other. And that's a really hard thing to do. Now, I'm not saying that suddenly we should turn around and become Orthodox, keep the 613 commandments, do everything to a T. But I want to give us a metaphor tonight. Judaism lays out this table before us. And on this table are all the practices, all the duties, everything that makes kind of a life special or holy. And most of the time we get to choose. But every once in a while, we should do something that doesn't necessarily make sense, that we're not moved to do, but rather that we feel compelled to do. Something that we would rather not. Most of us, once we're home at 5:30, put our feet up, take off our shoes, need sometimes that extra push to put them back on to get here on Friday night. A sense of commandedness does that. Most of us who have 20 other things to do on a Sunday morning may not decide that we want to work at a soup kitchen. But if we feel at least a little bit compelled, it will get us out of the house. Most of us feel at least a little scared sometimes walking into a shiva house, comforting someone in mourning when we don't actually know the right words to say. Commandedness will get us through that door. I want to challenge us to find a way, to find a balance between those two poles, between the truma, the openness, the ability to just forge whatever path you deem necessary, and the titzaveh, the duties, the commands, the things that push us to be better than we want ourselves to be. We have to find a way to walk that line. The world is just calling out to us to make us complacent, to make us lazy, to make us uncaring, to make us hard-hearted. And we need to set up for ourselves certain fail-safes so we don't fall into that. Force yourself to do the things you don't necessarily want to do. Not every time, not always, but make it part of the repertoire of Jewish living. And you'll find Just as our ancestors said at the foot of Mount Sinai, we will do and we will understand that sometimes acting first, jumping into action, taking a leap of faith on yourself will cause you to realize the power of it and will cause you to understand that something that was once compelled to you now is your choice. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to rise together, page 282 for Elena.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kikoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who we've loved and who we've lost. As I call in the name of your loved one, I'll invite you to rise, remaining standing to honor their memory. This Shabbat, we recall the following individuals: Marvin Alpern, Leonard Berman, Ira Birnbaum, Robert Cohen, Hona Cohen, Nettie Cook, Madeline Ezrin, Sophia Feigen, Richard Festa, Helen Fleischman, Bertold Fleissig, James Gary, Erwin Geller, Milton Genzer, Claire Genzer, David Gladstone, Francis Goldstein, Joseph Godhelf, Lillian Gushin, Harry Halpern, Rose Dorrance Calter, Ralph Kaufman, Bernice Kramer, Solomon Levine, Jack London, Lillian Lustgarten, Bessie Ruth Mabey, Ignatius Melendez de Olivas, Beth Owens, Ruth Passval, Ira Resnick, Robert Rosenberg, Rosalind Rosenblatt, May Rubin, Claire Russ, Herman Sadowski, Marvin Sandler, Esther Schmidt, Manning Schreiner, Donald Shaw, Adolf Spitz, Morton Stagoff, Gerald Stein, Anna Belfer Tobias, David Tucker, Harry Vigdor, Evan Wagman, Susan Wachstein, Samuel Weinberg, Beatrice Weingast, Michael Weinstein, Anita Wiener, Benjamin Wolf, and Gary Zaslav. And those who are there in their Shiva and Shloshim periods of mourning: Ellen Greer, mother of Brian Greer, Linda Cannon, mother of Jill Marcus, Susan Kagan, mother of Sherry Kagan, Christopher Bustamante, nephew of Amy Karras Plout and Jeff Plout, Paul Smilo, father of Perry Smilo, Leslie Barr, father of Michael Barr, Michael Joseph Goldman, father of Melissa Goldman Williams, Shelley Price, father of Lori Price Abrams, the Honorable William Dreyer, father of David Dreyer, and Lynn Pogge, sister of Matthew Pogge. In addition, I'll invite anyone who is within their 1 year period of mourning or who is observing a yard site that may not have been on this list to please rise and share their name with the community. We rise together, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba, v'yamad divrach hirte v'yamlich malchute, v'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayet l'chol Beit Israel, b'gala uv'izman karib v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam olmei almaya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalet v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu, La'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechmata, damiram b'yamav v'imru amen. Yehi shalom rabba min shmaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'o ko Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'o ko Yisrael v'imru amen. Please be seated. So before we move into our closing song, just a few quick announcements. I'm really excited for next weekend. So next weekend, Bishop Malchus is coming. Now, if you might ask yourself, why do we have a bishop coming for our Scholar in Residence weekend? The answer is that he is from the country of Georgia, not the state, the country. And he created essentially the first Reformed synagogue in all of the country of Georgia. He has a big warehouse where he built a church, a mosque, and a synagogue all under the same roof. He's a scholar renowned of comparative religion, and he's coming all weekend to be our Scholar in Residence. He's going to speak on Friday night as part of a potluck, Saturday morning after services at noon, and then Sunday morning at 10 a.m. over bagels. And so please just pick one, pick all of them. He's speaking about really wonderful, important things: interreligious dialogue, war and peace in the Abrahamic religions, what the meaning of social justice, why religion matters. And so come to any of his talks, and we're really excited to have him, and we want to make sure we've got a good showing. In addition, I just want to plug Purim's coming up in only a few short weeks. So take a look. Find the information, especially around our Purim spiel. It's rare, by the way, that Saturday night happens to be Purim itself, which means our Purim spiel is actually on Purim instead of being on a Saturday night adjacent, which is exciting. And we're going to do some special things for Purim as part of that night as well. So do you have any specific things to add besides that?
No, those were all, they're on my list. I'm thrilled that Purim is not going to be an 8-day holiday this year.
Yes. So come tomorrow morning to services. Jesse Garcia Pedroza again is going to preach and chant, and we're very excited for him and his family. As we're going to close today, page 321, Adon Olam. Then we'll head outside for some dessert and some more toast to Maribel, though I know those with the Garcia Pedrozas are going to head right in the back for dinner.
Adon Olam asher malach בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היום והוא יהיה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא עת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא והוא אחד ואין שני להמשילו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא הנפלא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא עת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא והוא אלי וחי בלי וצורך לי בעזר
Shabbat shalom. Make sure to introduce yourself to someone new, grab a cookie, and when you hear Marge Grayson's voice, you know it's time for the toasts.
Thank you, Ed.